BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Bo Hunter says, does no one believe that Payton Thorne can get better from last year to this year?
Let me answer this because I'm seeing a lot of.
You must have started this with B.
I did. Thank you. Yeah. So when people talk about, we kind of had the same thing early with Bo, right? Where it was, oh, well, if you give him better, all of this stuff, then he'll be better. And we're seeing a lot of that. Hugh Freeze is trying to say that now about Payton Thorne. It's not that that's not true. It's that if you're going to say, I need to give this guy some all-world talent for him to be good, what quarterback does that not apply to? That applies to what's his name? Just won his 3rd Super Bowl. Mahomes. Yes. They gave him popsicle sticks for wide receivers this year, and he went and won a Super Bowl. Yes, he also has an offensive genius for a head coach who puts a lot of trust in him. They have a good relationship. Perfect situation there to be able to be a great quarterback with below average wide receiver talent on the level that they play and still get it done. But he also has a Hall of Fame tight end, which kind of balances some of that out. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If I need outrageously, we're talking Cam Coleman could be the best wide receiver that's ever put on an Auburn uniform. We could be saying that comfortably in a couple of years. If it takes that for you to be, oh, well, now he can be the starter, then you are a weak point here. Based on how he played last year, Payton Thorne was not good last year. There are a lot of reasons why. Wide receiver talent was one of those reasons. Hugh Freeze said, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix the wide receiver talent for you. And then the other reasons that you weren't good, I think you can do the work. I can do the work with you. The system could have been part of the problem. Let's fix that as well. What I'm asking is, does that make any one person the best person here? Are you the best quarterback here? Or are you the one that we've seen? So we don't want to change it. And what you hope that coaches are doing, and I think we all hope this is, are you picking the guy who's actually the best? Because if I put all these great wide receivers, they're young this year, but they're great. A better offensive line, the run game I expect to be just as good, if not a little better, because these guys can get better year on year. If I can handle all of that for you, there's still going to be a situation that presents itself where your weakness, whatever your weakness is, and it could be Payton Thorne, it could be Hank with his not being very mobile, it could be Walker White with, at this point in his development, reading or accuracy may be an issue because he's very young, he hasn't played yet. All of them have issues. Which quarterback has the least amount of issues right now? And are you going to put that guy out there? Because we've seen multiple times where I put a corner on the end of the line coming to blitz Payton Thorne, and he just not see him. And we sack, lose yards. That's an issue that having Cam Coleman out there can't fix. Who is the best guy? Can you identify coverage and the blitz? Multiple pick sixes in a season? That's not something that having a great wide receiver out there can necessarily fix.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have the right guy, not just better wide receiver talent on the field.
I agree with everything B said. I'm just going to highlight that after talking to Payton, I'm struggling here because I can't repeat everything he told me, but like after talking to Payton, I think that a fixing system will fix a lot.
Okay. And I can see that.
A lot. I think it was a heavier part of what went wrong last year for him than in the passing game than most fans realize. So week after week, when I would come on here and say, guys, and this was before we talked to Payton, obviously, the system is shit. Like what they're asking them to do, it's not good. And the belief that if you just go out there and execute whatever at a high level that it'll work is a farce. Dude, I'm telling you, you can have a bad plan and I can execute a bad plan to a T and it will look bad. Right? Last year, this should not be groundbreaking for people, man. They fired the offensive coordinator after 1 year. So you have to know that there was some reason that guy got fired and that they thought that he was at a negative enough of an impact on what they tried to do last year that I felt, man, after talking to Payton, I honestly felt sorry for him. I did. After talking to Payton, I was just like, man, like, you know, I was like, man, we were a little bit too hard on you, bro. Like, we were a little bit too hard on you. Yeah, and now I still think as a senior guy, there's a certain level of play that he has to meet more consistently. But Payton, to me, was who he's been his whole career. You were supposed to have a superior system that allowed him to thrive. This is how average players get drafted, is, you know, the system guys. They play in a system that maximizes whatever they got.
Right.
And then when you get to the NFL, you may or may not get into a system that does that. I think Jason Campbell would have been a much better pro quarterback had he gone places where they knew what they were doing offensively.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought he had the talent, but, you know, it never really got over that hump for Jason, but he was good enough to stay in the league and quarterback like 3 different teams.
All right.
So the system has a lot. The same way when Borges came in his senior year, suddenly he was a first-round draft pick.
Right. Right.
Like, come on, man. I'm with Payton on this one. Like, end of his second year at Michigan State, clearly they were a mess.
Yeah. They weren't good in several ways. So
they were 5-7. They were a mess after coming off an 11-2 season. And, you know, we see there that might have been that way for a while. And then you get to Auburn and a lot of the same stuff. So fix the system. I think you get you average to better than average Payton Thorne more weeks than not. You got 8 home games, man. You got 8 chances to do this thing at home. And that stretch from Oklahoma to Kentucky is brutal, guys. You get Oklahoma at home, and then on the road at Georgia, on the road at Mizzou, on the road at Kentucky. The system has to help these guys, man, during that stretch.
If you split half those games, man, you on the
you're looking pretty good. Like, you win 2 of those, you're looking pretty